Be very careful not to lose the microphone into the sea. I've made a few videos before about the concept of what high sensory intelligence is. And high sensory intelligence is a relatively new term that is now being used to refer to the trait of high sensitivity and sensory processing sensitivity. In previous videos, I've talked about various aspects of high sensory intelligence, what it is, how to kind of make sense of it, and what it means for us as people that are born with this trait that we're actually having to work out for ourselves. But much of the resources and the material that is available is really about helping us to survive this trait, surviving the overwhelm, and living with the fact that we are relatively alone in this. And what I mean by that is it's very difficult to actually explain to other people what it means to experience the way that we do, experience the world in the way that we do, when we consider the fact that we are processing much more sensory information about the world and about people around us than people that are not born with this trait. So at the moment it's very difficult for us to share that because we don't really have the language for it, and people that don't have the trait are not used to hearing about this. And even people that do have the trait are also not used to talking about it, and therefore feel like there needs to be this secrecy, feels like there needs to be this in order to maintain safety, it's better not to talk about these areas of lives that we were essentially taught as children not to share. We were taught that it wasn't socially acceptable for us to talk about our sensitivities and talk about the way that we experience the world, which is actually profoundly different to how other people experience the world. So the opportunity that I am really bringing to the work that I do is to help us to normalize this trait. And that's really what I've talked about in other videos that I've made in addressing this issue of what high sensory intelligence really means. So in this video, I'm really interested and excited to share with you a bit more about the actual experience of what it means to receive and process more sensory information and what that actually feels like. So what does it actually mean to have this experience of a higher sensory intelligence? And what I always like to start off when I say this is not to say that people that are born with this trait that enables us to have the ability of high sensory intelligence does not mean that we're better in any way than the people that are not born with this trait. Nature doesn't make mistakes. It's all intended. 15 to 20% of the population are born with the ability to process sensory information more deeply. That means that this section of the population serves a purpose for the rest of the population. It wouldn't work if we were all high sensory, and it wouldn't work if none of us were high sensory. But it doesn't serve us or humanity if we play down what high sensory intelligence really means and the abilities and the gifts that it actually brings for us and enables us to utilize as high sensory people. So the actual experience of high sensory intelligence is almost like an ability to feel into the environment around us with more intensity. So for instance, as I stand here making this video, I'm aware of the environment around me, and I am able to send my conscious awareness into it to enable me to intuit a deeper sense of information. Now I know that sounds a little bit difficult to comprehend, And it's only through my years of personal experience in exploring this ability and in facilitating others that it has helped me to actually realize that it's there and it's real. And as many times before, as I've used the analogy of a fish not knowing it's swimming in water until either it jumps out of it or it's taken into a new environment. This experience of being able to feel into the immediate environment more deeply is a bit like a sphere of awareness. So it means that I am intuiting and divining information around me, which is then being processed at a cognitive level. I am then responding to that information at an emotional level. I can feel it in my central nervous system. That then allows me to respond accordingly, depending on the circumstances and depending on the information that I am looking for. So for many of us, we make amazing coaches, healers, consultants, and facilitators. So that means that we are able to incorporate other people that we are processing and coaching into that sensory awareness to divine key bits of information about that person, which supports us to be able to help them to process and evolve in their own process as a human being, or within their own evolution as a human being. This is a key part of what makes us highly empathic and highly intuitive. We are receiving and have the ability to process this sensory information that much more deeply. Really what I'm coming to is this is an invitation to explore this within yourself. Whether you have literally just come across this body of work and you're just finding out about high sensory intelligence, or whether you are already an established coach in your field, or whether you have been aware of the trait of sensory processing sensitivity for some years, my invitation for you is to continuously inquire into how it is personally working through you and working with you. You are going to have a unique way in which you are experiencing the world at a sensory level. Born with this trait, it means that you are processing sensory information that much more deeply. The actual sensory experience of what that means for you is profound. It is an ability, it is an intended ability that has a very, very important role to play in the world. You are going to have an area of fascination in the world. It's going to be an area around human development, personal development, transformation in people in some way. Yes, you may well be an artist. Yes, you may well be very passionate about the environment. I completely understand that, and those are very, very key awarenesses to have. Whatever the area of fascination that you have, this is going to be a continuous conversation that you're having with yourself. It's going to be a continuous conversation that you want to have with other people. It's the most exciting area for you. Your sensory awareness is aligned to this. Nature doesn't make mistakes. Your sensory experience is supporting the area of your interest. This is your purpose here. This is the purpose that you have at a soul level. When you start to tune in to what this sphere of awareness feels like for you, you're going to start to get more and more acquainted with the level of sensory awareness that you have and how it serves this area of fascination. This is how you can engage yourself as a high sensory coach, healer, consultant in your area of expertise. When you start to recognize that you are intuiting key pieces of information about people that matter to you most. It's allowing you to tune into how they're feeling. It's allowing you to tune into the blocks that they may be experiencing. It's allowing you to tune in and help them to align with the truth of who they are. Exactly the same thing can be said about organizations. If you have a calling and a fascination to help the workplace and businesses to align to their values, to serve people in a better way, to help the people within the workforce to be happier and to be more productive and align with their values and the company's values, your sensory awareness is going to allow you to tune in to the pieces that are out of sync with that. You're going to be able to feel the energy of a workforce. You're going to be able to tune into people individually that play a key role in the outcome of that workforce. Whatever it is, I assure you, you have a unique version of this, and I just cannot emphasize the importance of tuning into how this feels for you. What is the sensory experience you're having? As a high sensory person, I assure you it is different to someone who does not have the ability to process sensory information to the depth that you do. So please, dive into this, inquire, start to write about it, start to get support around it, look for facilitation from someone else who has a high level of their own sensory awareness to support you in the revelation and the application of yours. And please do remember to subscribe, like and comment on this material if it's inspiring you and you would like to be a part of this awakening and this movement. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.